Alright. First off, I want to explain to you a little bit about riding the X. Come here. So, I got Indy out here because before I show you me riding that horse, it's no good having a horse video without having a horse in it. So, he's an introvert too. Even though he's gotten way better. One thing about him, he has curiosity, which Flicka, that mare, didn't. So I had to write down some of the things because she went through such a myriad of problems. I wouldn't remember them all unless I wrote them down. So first off, she came to me because she was bucking. That was a simple fix. A couple days of that and I was riding her. That horse would, like I said, she's very sensitive. She would go anywhere you wanted. Light. No problems. But then after riding her, a couple days, and because I always gave her the freedom to express herself, she realized the fact that she could say what she wanted to. So when I started riding her, like I said, everything, she'd go wherever you wanted, nice and light. But she'd get to a point, all of a sudden she goes, okay, that's enough of this crap. And she would drop that shoulder and start with that right hand turn stuff, And when I started to use a little bit of physical control, because she's a sensitive horse, it's not much. She really started bulling and jamming, and I'm not gonna fight with a horse. I'm not gonna get physical with the reins. So what I ended up doing was I just step off her. See, everything I do goes with separation. Either you're with me or you're not with me. Physically and mentally. Because if they're not with you mentally, they're going to leave. So, a few days of doing that, okay, I start riding her, right? And this horse, what she did actually was get more introverted when you were on her. She was literally running off in her mind. Nice that she wasn't really physically running off. She just couldn't stop. And she always wanted to go right. So I started changing the pattern. Right and forward. The opposite is left and backwards. So I started doing that with her. A few days of that, she started freezing up. She would just lock up in her hindquarter and she says, I'm not moving those things. Well, with these introverted horses, you got to wake them up. So I snapped her up back here to loosen up your hind feet. Wake up. Well, what she started doing then was, I want to say rearing, because it was rearing to an extent, but it really wasn't a full blown out rear. All she was doing, her back feet were stuck in the ground, and what she'd do is lift her front feet off the ground and then just literally just tip right over. She did that with me 3 times. So I said, okay, when you freeze up, we're going to go back to that separation stuff. So, when she did that, when she tipped over, she got up like, what just happened? She really didn't know. She was in such a mental block, she didn't know what was going on. So, after doing that a few times, I was back to riding her again. No more freezing up going on, but she still had that pattern of going to the right and not wanting to stop. She just wouldn't stop moving her feet. So like I said, she's meant running away in her mind. So what I would do is just ride her from one side. Because she's running away that way, I kept all my weight and my attention over here because I want this curvature. So that and you see when I turn this way, he does the same thing. This is all I was trying to get out of that mare. So I'd just sit there. I'd hold the rein. I didn't have to use any force. She'd keep her mind tipped over here, but she was running away to the right. So what she was doing was going in tight circles like this and drifting way right. So that went on for a few days. Then she decided, well, all that going around in a circle stuff was crap. I could just drift to the right. Great. So I used that to help her with her side passing, so that when she was going that way, I was just riding her like this. So come here. So that and it. Come here. You're blocking me. They want to see me, not you. Sit back here. So that worked out good. You know, I'm getting this curvature. That went on for, you know, again, several days. Then I started to teach her to ride the X. The X is somewhere. X is nowhere. And X is anywhere you want it to be. So what I mean by that is, if you don't and can't ride with good focus without having the horse deviate your thoughts and where your focus is, then by all means use an object. You can start out with an object as being X. X is just a good place for you to be mentally. It's a good place for you to relax. So what I was doing, I was just focusing on the end of the barrel here. I was focusing on the end of the barrel, and I just had an X on the end of the barrel. So what I was trying to do was ride to X, and what she would do is, when I started to ride to X, once I got her nose tipped to X, so, you know, X is right there, I just let go of the reins. Let's just stop at X. But as I was going to X, she'd have her nose tipped over here. She goes, I'm not going where you're going. I'm not going. She'd refuse. I get to a point where her nose would hit X, and that's what I say. That's when I dropped the reins and just relax. She would just, I'm not going there. She'd turn her head to the left and head off that way. So I'd ride her back over here. She'd say, I'm not going to X. I'm not going to X. And I'd get to a point where her nose would hit X, and I'd just drop the reins and relax. She'd turn her nose this way. She would not put her nose on X. When I finally did get her to go to X and put her nose on X, what she would do was back up. So here's a new pattern. You know, she wasn't resisting. She'd go to X straight on, and I'd drop the rein. She'd just go, no, I'm not going to X, and she'd back up a long ways. So that went on for a few days. Me having to get her to the point she was backing, and I'm saying, no, I want to go forward without kicking and spurring, yarning and jarring. I just, you know, changed my focus a little bit this way, a little bit that way. I want forward. And when I got forward, I relaxed. So I finally got her to rest at X, and then I started moving X. Oh, geez, you can't move X. X has always been on the end of those barrels. You can't do that to me. So you're not going to see any big hoopla. All this is teaching a horse to go somewhere and relax. That you can actually stop and relax. Then I could put X here, and I could put X there, and everything's okay. Go to X. X is basically when you really get good at it. Hey, he said, screw that. So X is basically when you get good at it. It's where your focus is and where your thoughts go. So you'll see me riding her that I put X on the door and I put X over here. I put a visual aid on the ground. This horse is owned by an 11-year-old girl. I don't want this horse being stupid. Whether or not this girl is going to be able to do this with her or not is up to her. But at least the horse knows enough now to just ride where the person wants to go without arguing. It's way easier that way. So as long as the girl can concentrate, hopefully the horse doesn't do anything foolish with her. But she's got some experience of riding to X and learning to just, okay, it's okay to be at X. It's okay if X is over here, it's over there. X is, like I say, when you get good at it, you just put X out in front of you and you can keep X moving and just follow X. It's good focus and maintaining your thoughts. All right, let's talk a little bit about riding to X. See, and you got to understand one thing, that everything that happens on the ground with a horse is going to happen under saddle. Those patterns, and this horse's patterns, she is so, or was, so defensive about the human. She really didn't like the human, especially being on this side. You know, see, right now she's actually tipping her mind a little bit that way. See, and I'm actually over here. She's gotten way better about it. But X is actually nowhere, right? So you could take X out and throw it anywhere. It just requires having good focus. Pick a spot, a pebble or something on the ground as you're riding and sit and just say, whoa. See, more than likely whoever rode this horse and started this horse never gave her the best deal possible. See, what they probably did was just say, whoa, grab a hold of her face and pull on her face. See, so it took me a lot to get through to her that I'm going to give you the best deal possible. It's not that if I was riding this horse for a while and it was my horse and all, that if I had to, that I wouldn't take a hold of her face, but I always give her the best deal possible first. I sit and ask the horse to stop, all right, and I pick up on the reins. This horse is so sensitive that if I grab a hold of these right off the bat, she would usually get worried. She knows that I've got a firm grip on these, even though there's a loop in the reins. That's how sensitive she is. She knows the difference whether you're riding one-handed and switch to two-handed and grab right a hold of those reins. So I'll show you what I'm going to do here. I got a glove down here and a red cup so you can see it. And certainly if you don't have good focus, actually use a visual aid like that. But you know, as you practice with focus, like I say, you could pick out the smallest, tiniest little thing and just jam on the brakes as long as you keep focused on what you want. And because of her pattern of tipping her mind over there all the time, which was a problem, you know, if I throw X out in front of her and I try to stop her, see, she would avoid it. She would avoid stopping straight onto it. So because of this pattern here, I would have to throw X out there and then ride to X there. See, if I just put my legs just tiny bit on her, and see, she goes, oh, X is over here? I see, yeah, X is right over here. So with her, I've done a lot of this, ride towards X and then have to readjust and put X on this side to get this curvature back. So what I'm just going to do is just ride away here, and then I'm going to ride to X, and we'll see what happens, and I'll show you if I have to adjust anything. actually do is I'm gonna ride, and I'm actually gonna grab her. Well, and see, she actually stopped with her nose right over X, which is a great thing, and it's got curvature this way. But I certainly can, because she's not dead straight. I could say no, X is right there. See how I'm just holding this rein, and I just barely touched her with this leg. I mean, hair light. So let's go see what else we got going on, and I'll show you more about riding to X. So what I'm going to do now is ride over to the barn doors and show you what I do there. See, I just slap X on the door. You tell her I want to go to X this way or I want to go to X this way. And I'll open up both barn doors in both directions, and then I'm going to go back over and close both barn doors. And what she would want to do before is to run right in the barn once we open the door. You know, she had so much of that forward. This girl did not want to stop. So I'll slap X on this door first. Of course, there's already a big X there. And I show her where X is here. And then I'll ride over here. I'll slap X up on this door. And because, see how she's tipped away right now? See, she has a problem with that. So I just touch her with my leg. I said, no, X is down here at the bottom of the door. So I'll ride over to that door. So you see, so I'm going to come back to X here. And if you saw, because of her pattern on the ground, when I've got the door on this side, I just, instead of having, because she curves away from the door, you know, you see how she had her mind tipped when I'm doing the door on that side. I got X on the door, and she's doing that. So what I do is I put X down there. See what happens? See? And that's what I mean. This girl is so sensitive. A lot of you people just don't understand this. It's not about... You got to really learn to touch and feel a horse. Know what you have. This horse is extremely sensitive. She'll ride great. If the girl who got her, she's a very young girl, she doesn't know how to ride like this. But that's all you need to know really with this horse. She'll go anywhere you want in a good disposition. But you can't be yanking any iron on her. There's no need to, because she's extremely sensitive. Like I said, in a dangerous situation or something, if I had to, but you still need to give her this relaxation. Pay attention to me. Life will be okay. It's not that I wouldn't use the reins to help her bring her mind back to me, but in the meantime, my whole body is going to stay relaxed.